Updating settings to YouTube. Okay. Looks like we're live. Jeez, what was that, an hour trying to figure this out? That seemed to take forever. Oh, can I take a break? I haven't even begun. Are you guys going through this, all this Mercury retrograde stuff? It's been insane. It has been insane. I don't know. I'm gonna wait for you for some people to show up. So I guess I'll just pull some cards. I will pull some cards. Let's see. Welcome to the live chat. Remember to blip deep dee. Okay. This is weird that nobody's showing up in the chat so far. Okay, here's one. Here's one. All right, we are live. I'm trying streaming for the first time, guys. And it was a lot more complicated than I anticipated. They're like, it's really easy. And so I followed the steps. I was like, no. I mean, it is once you figure it out. You can hear me. Good. Thank you, Monique. How are you? How are you? Oh my gosh, it's been a long time. We were in a helicopter last time we talked. But the sound is a bit off. Wonder why the sound would be off. You can still hear me, but what is it, delayed or something? Oh, maybe, let's see, desktop audio, blue, 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 blue. Oh, maybe that was supposed to be in the middle. Is that better? Okay, is that better now? Is it better? Oh, do you have a fan on? I do. I have a fan on. But it's like a ways away. You can, it sounds like a fan is on. It's pretty quiet, I think. Tay, it sounds good to you though? Monique, is there something going on in your background? I don't... Yeah. Okay, let me see if I... Let me go shut the fan off. But the fan is like clear in the other room. I can't imagine it making noise. Let me see. I'll go see. Hang on. Right. You never know. Okay, is that any better? Beautiful sounds and looks great. Good, yay. Is it better now? Thank you for experimenting with me and helping me with this. You know, I tried to go just, it's still there? What is happening? Okay, I'm just going to play around with some audio settings. How about that? Is that any better? Is that better? No, probably not. Okay, desktop audio, blee, 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 Streamlight settings. I don't know, but now I'm really hot. It's like, I don't know, Texas is so hot. It gets to be like 100 and, I don't know, 113 fairly regularly. Sounds and looks great. Okay, it's still there. I don't know what to do. I don't even know what to do. Because I tried to go live on YouTube, and they were saying that they were just like making me do it sometime in the future. I was like, but I want to talk now. I wanted to talk the other day now, and you guys let me talk now. So why won't you let me talk now? Why would I have to do it later? Okay. All right, fine. What does it sound like, Ed? I don't know what to do about that. All right. There have been so many crazy glitches going on lately. It's insane. Like so many weird things. Can the rest of you hear me okay? Oh, what is that now? Who can hear me just fine? High Priestess of Atlantis, chakra healing. I'm going to refresh the chat here for a second and see what happens. Okay. It's all good. You can. Okay. Okay, I guess we're good. Sorry, Monique. Whatever you're hearing, I'm sorry. All right, High Priestess of Atlantis, chakra healing. I don't think I have my magnifying glass. I don't know if I should do this. Hang on. No, I can't even reach it. So let's do a chakra clearing then. I just need to I need to cover you guys too, because there's some really wonky energy going on. I don't know if it is for everybody else, but it's been real. I've had like 20 or 30 things happen today. Seriously. Really, like what's happening? But what I wanted to do though is I wanted to talk about that video that I put out yesterday. But yeah, we will do the chakra clearing in just a second. Did any of you watch the Know Thyself video? That was one of the most profound videos ever. And it's only got like a few hundred views. We need to get like millions of views on that thing, because everybody needs to know what's going on right now, and they need to understand this. Now I see what they mean by us being in a simulation. And this is probably being streamed, because if it was probably being controlled by YouTube, I bet you anything they would take it down. They do not want me talking about this. I figured it all out, you guys. I know the key to life. It is a simulation. So, did anybody watch that video? Know Thyself. You watched it? You watched all my videos yesterday. Yay. Good. Good. So you know what I mean. So, you know, God will give you all these little bits and pieces to put together. Sometimes the pieces of these puzzles, and they all start putting together. Oh, and you did too, Monique. Okay, good. Okay. Well, the full picture I still have maybe a couple little pieces left, but I kind of got the big picture now about our reality. Because you guys know that I've been enlightened. I've been trying to put that together with finding out about the Matrix and everything that's going on in Babylon too. And like putting the two together and everything that we hear about in between and all the different teachings we have and things. And I basically figured out, and you guys aren't even going to believe me. You're not going to believe me, okay? But it's true. So just try to stretch your brains. And I know it, and I still have more work to do to come back into my realization of myself, okay? So basically we are, I hope I don't get shut down for this. Okay. We are so powerful you can't possibly believe. I mean, they say that we have the energy in us and the power within us to like the energy of a NUKEBOMB, like that much energy in us. And you're like, what? How? I just get a little electric shock here and there, but like nothing that's that big. How could I possibly produce that much energy? But we can. And everything in our world is energy, and we're living in this matrix, but everything being fed to us. Okay, all right, so we're these incredible, you guys know that we're incredible beings beyond our meat suit, right? That we're like these enlightened beings, where we really are enlightened. The real us is enlightened. However, we've been inundated with Babylon and the matrix, putting upon us a program of who we are. You are this body. You are this name. You are this social security number. You are ours. Did you guys just see that thing flash in front of the screen? Okay. So I did. That was a glitch in the matrix. So they've been trying to do all that they can to try to make us believe our negative thoughts. If you have a negative thought, it's because it's in the program. It's not who you are. If you have a lot of negative thoughts, you're not even there. The matrix totally has you. You're totally caught up in it. But we have the ability to remember who we are and what we are, and this powerful being of God. We're an aspect of God. So we are one with God, especially when we're enlightened. That's why they say, like Anastasia was saying, that we are the most powerful beings in the entire universe, you guys. That we are next in tier under God itself. God Creator is in us. He's operating as us. And they've done all that they can. I mean, even the songs on the radio. I'm so brokenhearted, and I'm feeling this, and I'm feeling passion, and I'm feeling all of this, blah, 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 blah. All of it's a bunch of baloney. Because who we are is just powerful, confident, calm, and neutral. And just observing. That's what we are. That's what and who we are. And I keep seeing these like little flashes on the screen. It's so weird. Are you guys still with me? Because I'm not seeing anybody chat. I just want to make sure. Because of all the glitches. Refresh. Oh, okay. So, okay, Lena's here. Oh, cool. Okay. Okay, good. So, any negative emotion that you have is black magic or a spell. People put, the dark forces even take people over. You saw the flashes? Okay. Isn't that crazy? So basically, I knew I was onto it back when I said I think our ego, and our ego is that part of us that has all the negativity, right? And I said I believe our ego, our negative thought forms given to us by negative AI. Artificial intelligence is in a computer program, right? They're making me stutter and everything. I can't talk. Stop it. If you're frustrated, if you're angry, if you yell at your dog, if you yell at your kid, if anything negative is happening, it's because there's a black magic spell put out there to make people trip up and to feel guilty and to feel unworthy and to feel unvaluable and to feel like less than. It's all the TV, the radio, all of it. You guys, we're all in an illusion. And the name of the game, the name of this game is to realize who you are, who we are. Muji's got it nailed. If you ever hear him talk, he's always just like, what are you talking about? Like, because you'll go on a story about who you are. And that's why in Byron Katie's work, it's so helpful too. And it really works. Because it's like, what is this thought and where's it taking you? And what is this story and what does it do for you to believe that negative thought? What does that do for you, you know? And she keeps bringing you back to that neutral place. When you're from a neutral place, you can see all things for what they are, what they truly are. You can see the truth of all things. And God can whisper directly to you. And that's why they're also after our pineal gland and calcifying our pineal gland, is because that can bring in the oneness with God. And it can help you enlighten, which enlightenment is us. It's not enlightenment. It's not some kind of state out there. It is us. This that we're operating as, Amy Satori, is just a fake little whatever it is. It's not real. It's not true. What I am is consciousness and beingness and neutrality and confidence and God walking and talking, you know? Isn't that crazy? Yeah, so like Muji will make a point of somebody will be like, I have this addiction and I have this going on and they'll just go on with these like personality stories about their lives. And he's just looking right through them and just go, what are you talking about? That's not you. Who's talking right now? And he'll even laugh. He's like, what? Who's talking? Until all of a sudden when they drop into the space of who they are and this expansion opens in their heart and they're like, boom. It's like you can feel that nuke feeling. Boom. That expansiveness. And you're like, whoa, wait a minute. What's going on? And I can feel it right now just saying it. You're just like, whoa. And then what happens? And I this is the weirdest thing. And it is I've been I've been hearing the Muppet Show, especially at night when I start going to bed. I'm like, it's driving me nuts. Why do I keep hearing the Muppet Show? Da 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 da. Like, and I'm just like, what is going on with this? But I remember saying that we're just puppets, right? So we're either the puppets of the Matrix, or we're puppets of God. We're either or all the time. If you're operating as the person that you think you are with that name and everything, then you're operating in the Matrix. You're in the program of the Matrix. To break out of it, we have to be the awareness that's watching us do all these things. We have to separate ourselves out from this person, this walking, talking meat suit. I hate that term, like meat suit. That sounds disgusting. But we're, you know, we're not this. We're not this. So, yeah, isn't it crazy though? And that's like the name of the game, because if all of us, even if a few of us, like I think I said in that video that, or I've been saying recently that even, I think it was in a post on Instagram, it doesn't matter. One of us waking up to who we are, truly seeing the power of who we truly are, can light up a whole city, can protect your whole city from disaster happening. So we really need to make a point of discovering ourselves again and seeing just how powerful we are, and taking a stand. It doesn't mean fighting at all or anything like it. It's just simply knowing how powerful we are. So do you guys have any questions about this? Are you with me, or is this like what's she talking about? What does she take? Like, how are you feeling about what I'm saying? Because that's what Yogananda calls the body meat suit, right? Okay, so if you really want to trip out, but it'll make you wake up though. There's a book called I Am That. It's really, really thick. By Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj. Now, trying to spell that is a whole other thing. But it's a book called I Am That. If you can read that book, and if you can actually get what he's saying in there, you'll enlighten. You'll remember who you are. It'll just boom. It'll happen. It might take a while. You have to ponder every little thing. You have to be like, is that true? What does he mean? Because he does a good job of keeping you looking at you, you know? He's like, forget all of the illusion, pull back the curtain. This is who you are. And you're like, whoa. So just keep praying thank you, God, so much for showing me the truth in all things. That's what I do all the time, and I have more and more revelations like this all the time. The name of the book is I Am That by Sri, that's S-R-I, Nisargadatta, N-I-S-A-R, Nisar, G-I-D-A-T-T-A, Mahar. He's laughing at me. When that guy is so funny. Maharaj, how do you spell Maharaj? Anyway, M-A-H-A-R-A-J. Okay, anyway, Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj. And I Am That. Just put in I Am That in Amazon or whatever. It's like a tan book with a burgundy around the outside. Hopefully I'm going to be better at explaining it, because for God's sakes, I've been enlightened before, twice. You'd think I'd be able to tell people how to get there. Can you please make me better at giving directions better? I just know the Byron Katie works, okay? I know the Byron Katie works, and A New Earth from Eckhart Tolle, that they're telling the truth. And I Am That. Those 3 books, if you really get what's in there, you'll start to figure it out. So, and I do believe the Nefarians, good, yes, get that book. And Anastasia's books, the Ringing Cedars, she's got it, she's enlightened. And she's never been tainted by the Matrix. She's looked at the Matrix from afar, from the woods, but she has not become the Matrix like we have. We've been completely brainwashed. But Anastasia's still pure. She's just, you know, she's so cute. And she's right. Hi, Mikiken. So, yeah. So what questions did you have when you read that, or when you listened to that video, if any, or any of the recent videos I've just put out, but especially about the state of enlightenment or the 5D or anything like that? If you guys have any questions, which you must, because nobody's enlightened. Like, at least I doubt it. You might be, maybe, but if you, yeah, I don't know. And when you're enlightened too, it's like, it's so hard to describe. But you're being operated by something else. It feels like somebody else is just like you're, So you're still in this body and everything, and there's a part of you, a consciousness that's like way back here somewhere, watching from a distance and being like, oh, look at that. You know, you can see things still, but your operation is just pure instinct. Everything that you say, everything that you do does not come from thinking anymore. So you just say things because God moves your mouth. I get that also. Eckhart, really great at explaining being in the moment. Yes, much better than I am, but hopefully I'll get better. Well, hopefully when I enlighten again, I've been asking God to just, the next time I enlighten, I really want to be a lot more able to explain it better. Because even when I was enlightened, I couldn't really explain it. I just told people, shh, you know, just shh. It'll come to you if you just shush. You have moments of bliss, but it goes. Okay, right. So, okay, I do know that the more that you focus on that bliss and that you ignore the negative stuff that comes through the artificial AI, and I've explained this so many times. Sorry, I'm sorry if I am repeating myself here, but I literally saw the thought forms come through. So this is how I know what it is. So I was sitting in my my manager's office. I was why can't I help hama shishina taike he san sepina shishihe ula ma'an taina asanse. Community relations director. I was a community relations director, the executive director. I was in his office, and oddly enough and weirdly enough, we were having an affair. And it was but we were in his office, not at that moment. But it was part of the whole dynamic, which was really weird. And it's part of also what made me come out of it. And it had nothing to do with that, but I know you guys know about that situation. It was that job with that manager. I was in his office, and I was just you have to put all of your attention on that blissed out state, on the aliveness of the cells in your body. You've got to make that your entire focus. And as you're can you feel it right now, guys? As you focus, just concentrate on the aliveness in your cells in your body. Feel your body. Feel that aliveness. Feel that energy coming through your fingers or pulsating through your veins, that aliveness feeling. And put your attention on it while you're listening to me right now. And you'll start to feel it build stronger and stronger. And then as you do that, it's like that energy starts to actually take you over. It starts taking the controls. But you have to be prepared for it, because if it'll scare somebody if they're not used to it, unless they keep welcoming and welcoming. It's like a welcoming. When you're putting your attention on it, you're welcoming it. Come on in, take me over. Come on in, take me over, is what the message you're giving by putting all your attention on it all the time. So even while you're talking to me or listening to me, you could be simultaneously feeling that aliveness in your cells. And as you're putting all your attention on that, and at least dividing your attention like I'm describing, it'll start cultivating and building in you. And you just keep going with that and focusing on that. And then your next job is to don't pay any attention to any distractions, and know that you're about to be transformed if all goes well. And do not reject the transformation. Because there will become a point when this feeling, this aliveness in your body starts to actually take you over, and it starts to become you. That's when it inhabits your body in a way. So it's like God inhabits your body the more you pay attention to God. Okay? And it just takes you over, and there'll be a feeling of fear for just a moment. If you're not ready, you'll think, what's going on? What is that? Something weird's happening or something, but don't try to label it. Don't even think about it. Just be like, take me. You just got to totally surrender in that moment. And that's why we're always taught in healing, let go, surrender, go with the flow. Because it's really important that we do that in order for this God energy to inhabit us in our bodies. So, then you're going to have all kinds of distractions. And so what happened when I was in there with him in that particular instance is I was just really in this, this cultivation of flow state. and I saw this bubble. It looked like a little tinted, it was tinted somehow, but it was like a little tinted bubble, and it floated like this. And I knew it was like, it was a thought form, and it was it wanted me to look at it. Hello, over here, a little bubble floated into your space. Pay attention to me. I could be a warning. You may have to know about me. You could be in big trouble if you don't. You know, it was over here, hoo-hoo, and trying to get my attention. And I felt or sensed about it, because I had so much of God in me. I sensed it out of the corner of my eye, and that it was trying to tempt me, that it was no good, that it was going to not offer me anything. And it was a sense of it was negative. And I knew I didn't need any negative, because love or God would tell me everything I need to know. We don't need anything negative. We don't need any warnings. We don't need any of that stuff that's anything that would cause fear, or, you know, the devil's really great at making you, well, if you only had this tool, if you only had this money, if you only had this status, if you only had, you know, it's always telling you you're lacking something in order to be what you want to be. You probably just saw that again, right? Yeah, it pulls you back down. It pulls you back, yeah. It pulls you out of the God state. So this thought form came over here, and I could actually feel the feeling of what it would give me to even look at it. I could feel the feeling of it. I just got a little tiny sample. It was so cool. Because I was like, what is that? And without looking at it, I still was like, what's that thought? I want a sample. And it was just like, oh, worry, you know, you'll lose your job, you know, whatever. It was something like that. Like it would have spun me out in worry or something. So I didn't entertain it. I didn't look at it. I didn't even give it any time or space at all. And it just went away. And I became more embodied. God embodied me even more. And anywhere that I would go, when I would cross paths with a person, with a human, with a living, breathing man or woman. If we say we're a person, we're a corporation. Just part of the matrix, just so you know. So a living, breathing man or woman would cross my path, and I would immediately, I was never thinking about anything. And then all of a sudden this person would come across, and I would look at them and I'd say blah, 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 blah. And they'd be like, what? Like, how did you know that? And it wouldn't be on purpose, and there wouldn't be any reason behind it. And it was just completely pure. It would just pour out, because God was in me and God was operating, and would just say to the person what they needed to hear. And it just was like that. And anything that I needed. And so we are master manifestors. Not man feasters. Another matrix trick. We can create anything in that godlike state. Who you truly are. We can create anything that we put our mind to at all. Anything at all. Anything. We can just, all we have to do is ponder it, and it comes. Now Anastasia talks about like how she's out in now this is so cool, because this is what happens. I saw what happens when you're in the corporate environment, right? Because I was in a corporate setting, and it was a very high stress job. So people who say you have to be a monk on a mountain to enlighten, not true. I had so much pressure and so much stress in that job, it was unbelievable. I saw what happened because my job was to fill the rooms. So I rented rooms to people. Very, very, very expensive rooms. Thousands of dollars, these rooms. Well, for one room. So, and I would have to sell lots of those rooms, as many as possible. I'd have to sell them all out if I could. So I would see that, my manager would say to me, hey, we need to fill like 10, 13 rooms by the end of the month in like a week or something like that. And then he'd just look at me like, I don't know how you're going to do it, but this is what we need right now. And then I would just ponder it for just a second. I'd be like, 10 to 13 rooms by the end of the month within a week. Okay. I would just agree with the concept, or agree with I'd be like, okay. And then boom, it was done. People just started pouring in the door, and they would literally have no argument at all. They would come in completely convinced, hey, Amy, I thought about you showing me around last week, and I really want to get that place for my mom, or whatever. And I'd be like, okay, great, I'll set you up, You know, everything was super automatic, super, super easy. Our lives are so incredibly easy when we're embodied by God. You wouldn't even believe it. You would not even believe. Like, I remember when I was first becoming enlightened, the first time I was driving, and I thought, I'm not even doing this driving. You don't have to do anything. You're not even having to brush your teeth. You don't have to remember anything. You don't have to, there's no effort at all. And look at how hard we work all the time, all day long, and we slave away, and I gotta remember this, and I gotta write this, that. All of that is the Matrix, guys, because it was like when we are one with God like that, God does all the work inside of you. He just uses your body to do it. All you have to, that's why they call it like the will of God, doing the will of God. Doing the will of God is not flipping, doing what the Bible says, people. Doing the will of God is letting God take you over, and you being willing to hand your life over to God. And God takes your body over, and you're just this puppet. The most loving possible puppet. Like Yeshua. Yeshua's birthday, by the way, is 9/11. I just heard that. I'd never heard that before. You broke a beautiful handmade bowl today while doing dishes. It dropped, and I looked and held the 3 pieces in my hand, and I thank it for the good times we've had. Aw, good. And a lot of times when you break something, it's actually breaking a spell. So that's good. Oh, that's good. Okay, was God speaking sporadic or continual? God was me. So it wasn't a separate voice. Like how I am right now, God speaks to me. He is outside of me and he speaks to me. He's in me too, but he's like a separate voice from me. So it was neither. It was not sporadic and it wasn't continual. I was God. He was, he had taken me over completely. Amy wasn't there anymore. I don't know where I was, but I was watching. I was watching from a really tiny little standpoint, pretty far away. I mean, I was observing what was going on, but I was pretty fascinated by it, to be able to tell about it today. I had to observe it, right? But it wasn't like a separate voice at all. I wasn't aware that I wasn't going, I am God. There wasn't, that would be ego. But it was more like God was in me going, oh, what is this? This is interesting being Amy. Well, let's check this out. Let's go do this. And so I was back there going, okay, God, go ahead. And I was just kind of like watching him do his thing with my body, And so, and then, it was just incredible. It was just like, what was that movie? Was it Jim Carrey that acted like he was God or something like that? Or somebody was, oh, no, what's his name? I forget. I don't know. Morgan Freeman. Didn't he act like God? I don't know. And then he gave the powers to Jim Carrey or something. I don't remember, but it was like that. You could snap your finger and the light would go on. I've never did that. I never tried that, but you could, and you could totally heal people. But that's who we are. We tell these stories like it's some kind of remarkable thing that we could strive for someday. But when we get rid of the illusion of us being something separate, then all of a sudden we are us, and then we live the will of God, and God becomes us. It's like God's up there going, let me in. Yeah, Bruce Almighty, thank you. God's going, can't you feel me? I want in, let me in. Quit believing that you're you, please. I've got work to do. Let me have that body. And if we, I can't even imagine if we all be, I hope we're coming, are we coming to that? Are we in the 5D? Are you going to inhabit us all? Thank you. Because we could sure use it about now. Yes, so God was, yes, exactly, Kathy. She said, so instead of God speaking sporadically or continually like to me, he was speaking through me. And I do, even when I'm channeling, sometimes, yes, God's words come through a lot. But it's still not the same. It's more of a choppy feeling because Amy's here. My personality is here. That's not that I'm going to lose my personality when I'm enlightened again. It's not necessarily, I don't know how it's going to work this next time. But the last couple of times that I was enlightened, I don't remember how my personality was, but I remember some of the feedback I was getting. And I remember my best friend at that time was really kind of disappointed. She didn't like it because I would let her like come back in my office and go on and on about all the drama happening at that facility. And she had to live there because she was having like physical issues, and so people had to, anyway. So she would come back in my office and she would just go on and on about how she was treated by this person. And I can't believe, and I would respond to her with, oh, you poor thing. Do you want me to go talk to her? I can't believe she treats you like that. I can't believe they act like that. I'm going to talk to the staff and we're going to take care of this problem. I was always like tending to her and taking care of her and, standing up for her or doing like whatever I could to, in my perspective, to make her life better. We all do that. I mean, all of our friends come to us, our family come to us, and they complain and they say blah, blah, blah. We go to the rescue. That's the normal way that we show love, right? Oh, good. She said, Lena says, I kind of never have any questions as you cover it all. Good. That's great. So I might be getting better at explaining this. That's great. So she would come back in my office, a big plush office with a couch, and it was really nice in there, really, really nice. But she'd come back there, shut the door, blah 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 blah, wine, and I'd go to the rescue. And so when I enlightened, it would be almost like she didn't know she was talking to God. Isn't that funny? Here she was. She'd come back in my office thinking she was talking to Amy. Blah, blah, blah. And God's probably like, what? Because I would just kind of like, when she would come in, I would just kind of, you guys know the phrase, like, be the space for that? It's basically allowing everything in the room to just be as it is without trying to change it and feeling that God energy encompassing your body or like inhibiting your body. So you're just paying attention and cultivating that feeling within you, and the whole environment becomes very, very almost palpably peaceful. And she would come into my space and she would do her normal yammering, you would call it, blah 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 blah, and I would just be watching her, just observing her, like a recorder, like a person recording something, and I would just be like, record, and I'd just watch her, and listen. And the love that I was exuding out to her in that moment, or that she was exposed to my God radiation power, being in my space was exposing her to that God radiation power that she could have then taken advantage of, and she could have enlightened in that space with me in my office, if she would have taken that opportunity to quiet her mind and to almost like submit or surrender to the peace. But instead she complained to me that she had lost her best friend. She was like, where did Amy go? I can't believe, you never care about me anymore. And I would say, why do you think I don't care about you? I love you more than ever. And she'd say, because you're not, running to my rescue, and you're not, complaining with me, and you're not telling me that what she did was wrong. Don't you think what she did was wrong? And I would just smile at her and I'd say, I think I love you. I think I love you very much, and I think that she's doing whatever she's doing right now because she's doing it. You get to a point of just complete no resistance at all to anything. You just completely accept it. It's like that radical acceptance, which is why that exercise, thank you God for my misery, is so helpful. Because it really, when you don't resist, you can just fall back into that space of, oh my gosh, it's all actually coming, it's all coming together just as it should. It's perfect. No matter how wonky it looks, or no matter how wrong it looks, or any of that. When you stop, it's like Michael Singer's book. Has horses on the cover and it's blue. Do you guys know the book I'm talking about? Something about surrender or something. He talks about when you have problems, just try not figuring it out. Just try being present with it, being aware that it's there. Somebody's pounding down my door, blah 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 blah. And just watch it, feel all the fear or whatever that comes through, blah 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 blah, all of that happens in your body. But just like observe it all, watch it all happen, and let it resolve itself. Just let it pass. No, not Seed of the Soul. Michael Singer's book. Not Surrender Experiment, but something like that, I think. But so you have these things happen to you. You know, what we tend to do is, like, what the Matrix wants us to do is go running after, putting out fires. You know, oh, this is happening, so I better do this. It's like this constant reaction to the stimulus in our environment. But God's always in control. So it's just kind of like, just step back and let God take care of it. See what happens. I'm getting strong tingles right here. But you have to just start to go, whoop, okay, I'm feeling all this fear. I feel all of this stuff, and I feel like running back to the such and such and doing such and such right now. Like, observe yourself wanting to do all of these actions in response to the door, boom, 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 boom. But just sit there. Just sit there and feel it all. All of a sudden you'll see that it just starts, untethered soul, thank you. Untethered soul. And he's so right. Oh, I'm spot on about your bull. It was given to you by your soon-to-be ex. There you go. The spell is broken. Yeah, right? Quick, take me away. So, yeah, so try that sometime, though. If your friend starts going off about this or going off about that, or you feel like, oh, I better get on the phone right now and solve the problem. I better, or, you know, it's like, fight it. Fight it. Just fight the urge and just, I want to do something about it so bad. And just, like, force yourself to just, this will pass. This will pass. God's got it. God's got it. This is like where a few days ago, like a week or two ago, this is like the best thing to always remember. God says, it's not up to you. It's up to me. It's not up to you. It's up to me. Let me in. If you go running around putting all the fires out, I can't do it. Like, be patient for a minute. Let me come right in and I'll fix everything, you know? To make whole, be whole. Yeah. So, we're coming to this, you guys. I'm just preparing you for it to happen, and hopefully, because you heard this, you won't have. Thanks for the fireworks. Just needed some special effects, some fireworks special effects. So, yeah, this is preparation, just preparation, so that you don't have as much resistance when it happens to you. And if you want to cultivate the, excuse you. If you want to cultivate it, if you really want to work on becoming your true self, then now you know that the next step that would happen, if you've been cultivating it for a bit, might be that invitation. It might be that feeling of like you're about to be pushed off a cliff. But don't miss the opportunity. I've done that twice too. So I have gone over the threshold twice, but I've also hesitated twice. Because I didn't feel like my circumstances were perfect, but what? I can't pay the rent if I do that, or if I can't, if I go now, like a thought like that will cross your mind, so you're not totally trusting God in that moment when the opportunity appears. It's almost like a portal appears before you. It seriously feels like that. It's like, boom, this big thing opens up, and you're like, what? And then someone's about to push you, and either you have resistance to it or you don't. And if you're like, take me, then you'll go through the portal and you'll become, God will inhabit your body. If you hesitate, but what about, then you won't go. And then you will spend months regretting that decision. But that's also why Yeshua was always saying too, like, that's why you have to let go of everything. It's like, let go of your best friend. And the fact that she's going to be very upset about you not talking about all the drama anymore, or trying to help her fix everything, or whatever. And you got to let go of your kids. You got to let go of your husband. You got to let go. But you're not actually letting them go. You're loving them more. And when you go ahead and go through the portal and let God inhabit you, how much more protection and love can you possibly have? You then are like living with God. Your kids now have God as their father or mother. You cannot look for better protection than that. You cannot have better care than that. You cannot have some, somebody that God has inhabited isn't going to behave the same type of way that Matrix people do. The people who've been, programmed by the Matrix and do and say everything that we all do because we watch the TV and we watch the movies for so long. We just do what they do, all the robotic, all that. There's nothing new under the sun. There's nothing new that can be said. We've heard it all. It doesn't. You guys ever feel like it just gets so old? Every conversation you hear, I know some of you are like going through that too. Like you're just walking around going, dude, like everybody's just like these programmed to like blah 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 blah, like parrots. They're all saying the same stuff. Have you heard anything new ever? Like, do you ever hear a conversation you're like, now that's interesting. Now that's different small talk than I've heard. It's pretty darn rare to hear somebody say something that's actually like, yeah, aren't we always just agreeing in the same language? We're always saying like those same, what do you call those? Like, it's like cliche. It's all cliche. And it's all what everybody says in that situation. Hi, have a great day. You too. Don't let the door smack you on the way out. Or like, don't blah, blah, blah. We have all these sayings that we say, and it's just, it's really fake. We're lacking that like genuine, true connection that comes from that authenticity. That's that other thing. 400 times more powerful than love. To just say it like you mean it. And that, okay, so let's talk about people pleasing. People pleasing is just trying to get people to do what you want them to do. It's manipulative. I want you to agree with me so that you'll give me money. Like a lot of times it's like you have a parent who's got you in the trust fund or they're paying for your stuff. And it's, if I rock the boat and I say this, I'm not going to get my money anymore. They'll cut me off. I won't get retirement. That kind of stuff, Or if you think about the reasons that you're people pleasing, you'll ask yourself, why do I want to, okay, so I hear some people saying like, but I want them to be happy. How do you know what truly makes them happy? How do you know that something so you think you're going to say this reaction that that they're going to react well to, but how do you know that saying God's voice in the authentic moment and saying this other thing that's more true isn't going to be the thing that like breaks them open and opens their heart, and all of a sudden their reality changes for the better because you decided to be honest. Those moments like in the movies, it happens all the time in the end of like romantic comedies. It's like, they finally come to like, yes, we're going to fake that we're in love for a while. Oh yes, it's just so wonderful. And then they look over at the person they really love and they're like, I want that so bad. But our families all believe we're together, and all of our friends think we're together, And then they look over there, I want that so bad. And then finally they look at this person, they're like, you know what? You don't like me and I don't like you, right? And then they're like, oh, thank God you said that. I didn't like you either. Whew, but somebody's got to be honest enough to say it. And then they'll look at each other and they'll be like, I know who you really love. I know who you really love too. Let's go get the people we really love. And then they run to the right person, That's put in the movies for a reason. They have to say the good, they have to say what they're up to. The Nefarians have to say what they're up to. But they also have to put good stuff out there too. That's why a lot of them do humanitarian work and stuff. So, it's all out there in front of us. They always come at the end of the movie. They always come to the truth. They always come to that moment of realization, and they have the guts to say it. And everything changes for the better. And they've already gotten to know the person that they really love's family and everything. They already love them. It's already set up for them. All they had to do was say no to the nonsense. So, any of you guys have trouble with people pleasing? Can I help you with that? Because it really is. That's like the biggest trick, one of the biggest tricks of the Matrix, next to making you not believe in yourself and doubt yourself. Seriously, catch yourself the rest of the day. Catch yourself. And whenever you think to yourself, oh, I'd never not be good enough at that, or oh, if I do this, then I'm going to, any kind of shameful, any kind of guilty, any kind of negative, any of that, catch it immediately and say, somebody put that on me. Somebody made me think that, and I believed it. I let it in. I'm blocking it out. just choosing to stay, and if you can stay really present in the moment, it'll just automatically not come through anymore, because your priority is being put on the present moment and cultivating that God energy in you. You know, when you cultivate enough present moment space and that God consciousness within you, it pushes out like this, and it doesn't let any of the bad thoughts come through anymore. You can't. They don't even come to you. Let's see. Letting go. That's the secret. Wanting to be free. Absolutely. All done with that. Yeah. I feel that good. I have problems saying no to my daughter. Okay, why? Take me all the time. I know. Yeah. Greetings, beautiful souls. Love to you all. I am. Yay. So, why do you have problems saying no to your daughter? Why? Let go, let God. Yes, yes. That is a saying that's true. That is. But people don't get it. They don't. There's so many sayings out there that people don't actually know what they're saying or what they're talking about. Like, especially Christians. Like, do God's will, do the Bible. It's like, no, we do good things and we do the Bible when we're enlightened. It's the opposite way. You have to let go of everything, let God inhabit you, and then you do all the good stuff. Otherwise, you're faking it. It's another form of people pleasing. Isn't that crazy? We can try to be good people, and we can effort at it, but you're still going to be, your ego's still going to be going. There's a part of you that's trying to manipulate a situation. Oh, good, now, oh, I got positive feedback. They like me, you know? Oh, I might get that job now. There's always some kind of motivation going if we have the ego. If we have the matrix still able to feed us those thoughts, we're still going to be influenced in the back of our minds. I said no to my son, and he hasn't talked to me in a year. I just trust God has it. Okay. So, when I say no to somebody, I try to give the most honest feedback I possibly can. So, I don't just, like, and I know you didn't just say no. But, like, that's why I'm trying to get you guys to tell me, like, what are some situations that you're having trouble with so that I could use those as examples, because I can't think of any. But, like, okay, let's say, I don't know. I can't think of anything. It's like I'm having a total, like, I don't know. I can't. I'm getting really good at just saying it how it is, you know? And if somebody has a problem with you asserting boundaries and throws a fit, they're just demanding their way, and that's not loving. Everybody should respect each other's opinion and what each other thinks. You know, you should be able to say, no, I don't feel comfortable doing that, but you go have a good time. You know, and then the other person can say, well, I'd have a better time with you if you came with me, so why don't you want to go? And, you know, and they're just kind of talking it out and being honest. Like, okay, so I know somebody who has, they've got tarot cards and oracle cards and stuff at home. And, like, whenever she's dating a guy, she goes and hides them. I'm like, what are you doing? You should do the opposite. Put all your tarot cards and all of your oracle cards, bring all the shit. Bring your sage. Bring your bowls. Go get your crystal bowls. Go get your Tibetan bowl. Go bring it all. Look like a shrine in here, you know? Because you're going to get that out of the open, it's going to be out there, you know? And if they have any kind of issue with it, if they're, you know, then bye-bye. You don't want somebody like that, you know? You don't want somebody who's going to be turned off by that kind of stuff. You want somebody with an open mind. So it'll save you a lot of time and energy if you can just be yourself right off the bat. I'm trying to think of, like, what the opposite of that would be. Like, some people probably try to sabotage themselves and do something like that too. But I think that, I don't know, it's all about, like, explaining where you're coming from, but as honest as possible. You know, like, if somebody comes at you, people are pretty good at, like, people, there are master manipulators in the Matrix, you know, like the karmics. You know, they'll come at you and they'll be like, They'll give you the guilt trip and all that stuff. Or they'll be, well, bitch, you didn't, come to you with that tone. If somebody's like in your space, physically in your space, trying to push you to do something, at least try to buy yourself some time. At least say, I really want to say yes really badly right now, but there's another part of me that's saying no would be the right answer. So give me about a day to think about it if you would. Give me an hour to think. Get them out of your space is the objective. Because they're trying to put their black magic on you. They're trying to put their energy on you, putting pressure on you, trying to get you to answer right there on the moment. But just put it aside, and then you calm yourself down. Go as close to your essence as you can. Be as calm as you can. Breathe, meditate, all of that to try to get to a really, really neutral space. And then ask yourself, what's the right thing to do? And then you'll know. Then you can go back to them and you can explain it. Not that you have to explain anything, but you can say, especially with if you're dealing with narcissists, you want to keep everything very, very brief. I said no because because I feel that's the best decision for me to make. Goodbye. If they try to argue, like I said no. I said no because I decided I assessed everything and I say no. That's all you really gotta say. The best feeling ever, letting go. Yeah. Because I love her. What does you loving her have anything to do with... No. If you love her and you really want to have her feel loved, you'll say no. You know why? Because she'll know that you're being honest. She knows that there's times when she asks for something and you say no, and there's times when you say yes, and there's a difference between the two. That, my dear, is love. Because they know when you say yes, it's like, whoa, that really means something, Because I know she could have said no, but she didn't. But she said yes. So loving somebody is not saying yes all the time. In fact, saying yes all the time sometimes is abusive. Like my mom, she always wanted my love. Here, you want pizza? You want ice cream? She would literally serve me hand and foot. You want a movie day? Here's $20. Drive my car down to the movie place and go rent a million videos all day. And I'd go in her bedroom, shut the door, and I would pull all the curtains and blinds totally black, and I would watch movie marathons all the time. I loved movies when I was a kid. Loved movies. And she would literally check in. Do you need anything to drink? And she would bring me drinks. Do you need anything to eat? Want a pizza? She loved giving me pizza, ice cream, everything you can possibly imagine. And she would always come in there. Was my mom loving me? My mom was trying to, yes, she absolutely loved me. However, was that healthiest for me? Not really. Did it make me become an emotional eater later? Yeah. When I wanted to feel loved by my mom, I fed my face. So it can be a problem. It can be bad. And I do wish sometimes she'd say no, and I respected and really, really admired her for saying no when she did every once in a while. I was pretty good at manipulating her, though. So, but that's where, all people pleasers are basically just, they're liars. They're liars to get along. You can't trust them. Somebody who, the people who can say healthy boundaries and say no sometimes, those are the people who really love. Because they mean it. You know what I mean? You know what you get when you talk to them. You know that it's honest, that it's in integrity, and they say it, they mean it. I said, okay, I'm seeing that one again about your son. So it's probably had to do with, it's probably didn't, you might be telling yourself a story of you said no, and then he made him disappear, but it could have been how you said no. There can always be like well, if you this, then yes. Make them earn it sometimes. It doesn't have to be just no, the answer is no permanently. It can just be like, all right, I'll say yes if you give me this. There can be bargaining in there. But everybody's got to be honest. Okay, here's a good example. Thank you. Okay, but I choose to stay to work with preschoolers. They're the best. Yeah, I love hearing what kids say. I feel comfortable saying it straight in my relationship. Good. My daughter wanted to stay in our home with her boyfriend, but it didn't work out first time. So I've let them stay again, hoping it works well. So what was the thing though that you want to say no to, but you're saying yes to? Is that the situation? If that's the situation, you could put a stipulation on that. He can stay 1 day a week. Whatever, like, so in that situation, you could step away from it and not answer her right in the moment when she's pressuring you. Oh, Mom, please, come on. I know we're going to get along better this time. I just know, and I can't believe you're not listening to me. You know, they start that kind of stuff. Be like, let me think about it. Get them out of your space. Let me think about it. And then you think about it, and you think, okay, what is the best way I can set her up for success? You think about it, and you process it from a totally calm, not any kind of pressure going on in here. Okay, well, how could I set her up for success here? It didn't work before because this, that, and the other thing was happening. How do we go into it differently this time where I think it could work? Or if I felt he was taking advantage or something, well, maybe this time I'll have him pay rent. Maybe that time, maybe then he'll respect us more. Maybe I'll have him pay for groceries. Maybe I'll have him do some chores. You know, so you think of a solution that would be different than the last time that kind of remedies the feeling you were feeling that didn't work. So you're honoring your own feelings, saying, you know, he just came in here and he just ate all of our food and he argued with her all the time and he did this, that, and the other thing. Okay, so how do I avoid all that? Well, maybe if he paid rent, it would make him, you know, yeah, I would feel better about it. Or maybe if he did this, that, and the other thing. So you don't just say, okay, you can have it, you know. So you have to kind of coil back sometimes, really assess the situation and do a stipulation. If this, then that can happen. You know, that's a good example of that type of thing. Can we be at the end of this movie, the Cabal movie? I feel so. I definitely think it's coming to a climax for sure. For sure. A lot of people are waking up to the stuff I'm talking about in this video. Oh man, I feel so much power lately. Yeah, something was released. Thank you, God. I know, I felt it this afternoon. Something, I was talking to somebody, I was like, did you feel that? I just felt something like totally lift off right now. I will try what you said. My daughter has a strong will. It's like a battle of wills. Okay, if it's a strong, well, you're in charge. You're the parent, right? So it's really not a matter of wills. If she wants to have her will and have it her way, she needs to go live somewhere else. But if she's like, you know, above, especially if she's above 18, obviously. If she's younger than 18, you're the boss. You're the mother. What you say goes. You've just trained her to walk all over those limits, all over those boundaries. All you have to do is reassert that, you know, and be like, I am the boss. And if you go against me, here's what's going to happen as a consequence. But if you cooperate with the plan, you're going to get all these really great things. If you go that route, you're going to suffer somehow. There's going to be suffering I can cause on you, and it will happen. There will be a negative consequence if you do not listen to me, if you do not respect me. But if you do respect me and you do treat me right, you know, then all these wonderful things are going to happen, you know. Give her a scenario. You want your life to be like this, or do you want your life to be like this? Because I can make it either way. You know, it's not about you just giving in to a willful kid, you know. You just gotta paint the picture. Paint the picture so they get it, you know. Because there's definitely, if you're the owner of that home, and if she's, you know, I don't know, how old is she? It's going better this time, but I'm worried. Well, you can't just hope it's going to go better, you know. You gotta take some actions. You know that you're not doing it right if you're questioning it. You know what I'm saying? You know you're people pleasing. You know you are. So that just means you need to reassess it for a minute and really consider what you're thinking and feeling in your heart. Something is off about that situation and you know it. So that's what you have to address. So you may have let him back. You can always go, okay, so if any of you have people pleased recently, you can go back on that situation and you can say, okay, I know I gave in to you because I love you so much. But I also felt like you manipulated me. And I feel like sometimes, honestly, I feel like we're like this about each other, but I'm the parent. So you just be completely honest. And then you can say, however, However, as much as I love you, this thing is eating at me. It's really bothering me. And you wouldn't believe, even the kids that are totally like, rah, 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 like this with you, they feel so much better. One of the reasons that they're that way with you is because they feel insecure about the boundaries of the relationship, which is why it's so important to have those boundaries. This is okay. That is not okay. That's got to be there for them to feel safe. I know because I was a spoiled brat. If my mom put her foot down more, and if she was like, I would have totally listened to her. I would have been like, okay, all right. But I knew how to push her buttons and how to get her to fall over, because she would every time when I did a certain thing, you know? So what I'm thinking is that your daughter is also feeling that it's wrong and that it's off. And if she's able to get away with it and make you go with it anyway, she's also feeling bad about it. So you addressing the thing that doesn't feel right to you is going to feel better to both of you in the long run. Even if they don't admit it at first because their ego takes them over, if you come from the heart, if you drop into your heart and you're just like, honey, I gave in to you, and I'm regretting it a little bit, and I think it's going really nice now and everything, but there's still this thing that kind of nags at me over here. What do you think? You could even say, what do you think we should do about this? Because it needs to be addressed, because I matter too. And my instincts are telling me blah, blah, blah. What do you think the solution could be? And try to work it out with her. But always keeping in mind that you're the one in charge, and you're the one that has to work toward making her feel safe. If she's a dependent, you got to make her feel safe by having rules, by having these boundaries. So, especially, I don't know, because the real young kids, they have more consciousness in them, more of that God source energy in them than we do. So in that case, a lot of times the parents have to surrender to the kid. But that's a whole other thing that we're dealing with right now, crystal children and all that. So, but we're talking about people pleasing right now. And people pleasing is happening because both people have been in the matrix quite a bit. And they're kind of, you guys are still programmed a bit. So there's all that stuff going on. Anyway, I hope that helps. Okay. Yeah, I know. I know. The ego. Oh. Only with your daughter, you're the people pleaser. I get it. But what do you want from your daughter? What's so desperate within you? What do you think what's your fear with your daughter? What are you so afraid of? What are you going to lose? Is she going to not love you anymore? What is it that you're so afraid of? And just take a really good look at that. Because you're saying she's more important than you somehow, and that you don't matter in that situation. And that's not loving of her. She's not loving you by making you do everything she wants you to do. That's not love. Love considers both people. And in these times, the Nefarians have made it that way too, so somebody always wins. But true love is taking a look at both people, considering both sides, and coming to some kind of compromise or something that feels good for both of you. Do you know that there are no real contracts out there, not any legitimate contracts out there, if both of you didn't actually look through all of it closely and agree on all points? None of the contracts that you've signed out there in the matrix are real. And from a legal standpoint, like, you could argue this in court. I did not sit down and read all of that. I did not agree to it. And there's like this one sentence in there I don't agree to, so that is not a contract. That's not a legitimate contract. So, anyway, that's what we're coming to, though, in these new times. We have to consider everybody's feelings, and we gotta hear it out. And then it's almost like that movie Celestine Prophecy. Whoever's strongest in that area is the one who has a little bit more say, the one who's most intuitive in that situation, or the one who's like, if we're out in the wilderness, we're not going to listen to a prissy person over here with her pumps on and her short skirt out in the wilderness on how to survive that situation. We're going to listen to the guy over there who's got his gun, and he's been doing this for years. He knows how to survive best. We're not going to be listening to her. We'll take into consideration the concerns she has, but not, but we're going to listen to the guy with the gun in that situation. So there's always, yeah. But just saying that everybody should be respected and, heard, at least, or understood. Yes, be yourself. Be authentic. Be absolutely authentic with everybody. It's 400 times more powerful than love. Okay, it's going better this time, but I'm worried if I try what you say, Amy. Thanks, I'm the boss. But you're worried. Oh, yeah, I'll try. Okay, gotcha. My mom used to tell me I was pretty, so nothing else matters. Wow. That is so that's the epitome of the karmics. They think that manipulating and looking good and hiking up that skirt and talking a certain way and seducing and all of that manipulation, that's what's going to get you what you want. It's a very shallow way to get what you want. You'll get what you want in a lot of cases, at least for a while. You'll get their money, you'll get them duped, you'll get them tricked, you'll get them, to whatever. But ultimately, you're not gonna be happy with the results unless you're just completely yourself. Scared she'll hate you. That sounds like a really funny story you're telling yourself. If she hates you for you mattering, you need to reassess your relationship with your daughter. Seriously. Hating you? She's hating you for not getting her way. I wouldn't even be listening to somebody who didn't care about my standpoint at all. Let alone, they can hate me all they want to. Who cares? If somebody doesn't care about me, why should I care about them? It's like, I don't know. I would just take that sounds very, very toxic in the sense that it just sounds like she's gotten her way for way too long. And that is a situation that needs to be remedied by some really, really deep talks and some really heart-to-heart talks, and some new boundaries need to be asserted in there, because that's gotten way out of control. So, and nobody should have control over you like that, you guys. Nobody should ever be. You shouldn't be afraid of anybody doing anything. You should be completely comfortable just being yourself in all situations. And if you're not, then there need to be some good heartfelt conversations going on. And if somebody's not willing to have a heartfelt conversation, you need not be in their space. Because it's not good for you and it's not good for them. But I mean, a young child is a totally different. I don't think she's that young. She's got a boyfriend. So, we could do a session on that. We could definitely do a session on that and go through that more. But yeah, that's not a good situation to be in. My daughter's in jail. Can you pull a card to see if she gets out? I want to help her. Let's see. My daughter's in jail. I don't know how to help her. Just to help her get out of jail. I'm not doing those kind of talks right now. We're talking general. We're not doing specific. I mean, you could do that for an Ask Amy Q&A. All you have to do is go to awakenedalliance.org and then go to the services page and then click on Ask Amy Q&A and put that question in there. And I could definitely tell you how she might be able to get out if she will. You saw that movie. What movie? Oh, Bruce Almighty. Problem is she has health problems. Yeah, that sounds kind of complicated. But there's always a way for everybody for there to be a win-win for everybody. There shouldn't be anybody just being walked over completely. Nobody should be just, here you have it all and I have nothing. It should never be that way. My son is refusing to do schoolwork at school, 7 years old. I took electronics until he does schoolwork. That's good. It says he doesn't like his teacher. So, have you had a conference with the teacher? Try to fill that out better? Maybe find a tutor? Is there somebody that would be willing to come to your home and talk to your kid about what's going on? School is such nonsense right now anyway. Gosh, your son's probably right. But he does need to do his homework. So, I mean, maybe sit with him. Try to figure out the homework with him. Make it some special time. Make it fun. Do something he really enjoys while he's doing his homework. Get him liking his homework again. Maybe have some of his schoolmates that have that class with him come over for pizza night or something, and everybody does the homework. And maybe they can all vent about that teacher that they hate. Or maybe you'll hear a conversation between the kids all sharing about that teacher, and you'll figure out that something about the dynamic of what's going on, and then you can address it. Or maybe you just ask them more questions about, like, what don't you like about the teacher? What's going on? What does he do? Or what does she do? Or I would ask, like, a lot of questions. I would just try to connect with the heart instead of just, like, assuming anything. I would just really, really ask a lot more questions to try to clarify what's going on there. But that's good, though, that, that there's always got to be consequences, good and bad. Always works when they know they have boundaries, yeah. It makes you feel so much safer. I actually resented my mom for not having any boundaries. I didn't like that I could manipulate her so easily. Oh, good, Lena. I'm glad you see that. She's sick and having kidney problems. Okay. The Celestial Prophecy film. It was gosh, what was the name of that? Celestine Prophecy. Celestine Prophecy. It's a good movie. The Peaceful Warrior is another really good movie if you want to watch one on this subject. Okay. Anybody else having a difficult time either with the subject of enlightenment or people pleasing? Because the reason they're kind of related is because of this idea that everybody thinks the highest vibration you can be at is love, but it's actually 400 times more powerful to be authentic. Then that's another thing the Nefarians were trying to program into the Matrix, is everybody's got to people please. So any questions you guys have about people pleasing? Do you have any other general questions? I can ask some general questions too if you need. I can just pull a couple of random cards too while we wait. If anybody has questions, just go ahead and... Sad always about that. Sad always about what? Okay. I know something really exciting is about to happen, you guys. Something really awesome. Yeah, don't let the dark side intimidate you right now. Laugh your butt off if they're trying to tell you, oh, and this is just the beginning. That's like, ooh. Not a very good beginning. You have him in counseling. I would love to be able to talk with my guides. You'd love to be able to talk with your guides. Cool, okay. A big part of talking to your guides is actually believing you are. Because even when you start talking to your guides, you're going to think that that's just you and your voice. You're going to be like, I don't know if I'm really hearing guides. Huh? What? I'm not even kidding you right now. Look at this. What does it say? Is it focusing? Trust your guidance you're receiving. Trust the guidance you're receiving. What did I just say? That's so funny. I just said half of like listening to spirit is like believing it. Trust the guidance you're receiving. Just love it. Spirit is so awesome, right? Oh my gosh. Yeah, you're talking to your guides already. You just don't believe you are. So it's hard. It's hard getting to that point. I experimented a lot before I really trusted my intuition. I would ask people questions, do you have a dog? I would try to feel into it for, like, at the time I was in the corporate world, and everybody was in all these different parts of the office, and I was friends with everybody. So I would just ask, I would feel into, like, I wonder if this person has a dog or a cat or a kid, or what do they have? And then I'd go past them and I'd be like, so do you have a cat? Or, I would do random things to kind of experiment with it. And I'd be like, oh, I knew they had a dog, You just start to build your confidence over a period of time. But yeah, you're not imagining it. you are talking to your guides. So a lot of getting good at this is trusting it. You gain confidence when you trust. I thought so too. I'm trying to. You mentioned crystal children. Yeah, those crystal children, they're going to be teaching us. When someone close to you had health problems, you put up with more than you should. Stomach problems and she can't eat much. I give in. Well, sometimes you make those physical problems more of a problem by making it a bigger deal like that. And then they learn to manipulate it. Everybody in society like that too. Well, I'm handicapped. I should be treated different. You know, my mom was handicapped. I didn't let her get away with nothing. We would give each other a really hard time. I'd be like, oh, you think you should get this because you're handicapped. Okay. No. So they know they're playing you too. But you make the handicap even worse by giving into that type of thing, you know. So sometimes they need a little bit of tough love. Otherwise they end up feeling really sorry for themselves and growing up thinking that everybody should give to them. Then they have this entitled thing they're walking around with, and they treat people like crap. I mean, your daughter's not just treating you like crap. She's treating everybody like crap. Because you're teaching her that that's okay. Because she has health conditions. You know what I mean? I've had health conditions, and you know, I would never expect somebody to treat me different because I had skin cancer or whatever, like, you know, or because I had a limp or my hips or whatever, you know. I don't have a limp. I'm just saying. Whatever, you know, my mom did. She only had one. She would drag one leg behind. She was severely handicapped, and so she would literally drag her leg, and her other arm was like hanging there, like it was in a sling or something. But I'd make fun of her. I'd give her a hard time and protect her. I would protect the heck out of her. But you know, I didn't let her get away with that kind of thing, and I wouldn't let her feel sorry for herself. I got mad when she started feeling sorry for herself. I was like, "You stop it! Stop it!" Do you think exploring past lives is important, or is it better to live in the moment? Better to live in the moment for sure, if you can. But as long as you're going to be in your ego, and if you're in your ego and you want to take a look at the past life stuff, it definitely helps. So it's like there's no judgment in having to go over here and practice this modality over here, go over here, practice this modality, you know, all the different things that we do as we kind of grow into ourselves. But ultimately, it is always best to get to that present moment state where we're like, you know, cultivating the God source energy feeling within us, which is, yeah, just us allowing God to inhabit us. You agree, but she's a good person and she's kind. That's good, but sometimes that's how they manipulate you. Look up narcissism. Not saying she's a narcissist necessarily, but you know, sometimes they put on a good performance. You're being protected. Embrace this magical moment. Find neighbors to homeschool and cooperate. Yeah, that's a great idea. Public schools are terrible. Oh, I agree completely. Oh my gosh. Yeah, there's some good videos out there too of parents who are doing homeschooling, and they talk about how they're doing it, and it's going well. A lot better than public school. Public schools, man, that's bad. Okay, embrace the magical moment. You are in the perfect energy space for manifesting miracles. Allow your wishes to be fulfilled. Yay! See, we have incredible miraculous energy in the air right now. That's why we're getting attacked so hard. So once you know that, and you know you're on the winning side of things, you're just like laughing at the dark side for even trying anymore. It's like, what do you, seriously? No. Then it's like these miracles are going to start flooding. I can feel it in my bones. You guys probably do too. I just totally feel like something incredible is about to happen. And you are protected. Let them come after you all they want to. It's almost over for them. You are safe within my bubble of light. You can proceed with confidence. So whatever that is, you know, whatever this opportunity is that's coming in for you, don't be afraid, because you are protected. Go for it. So that's exciting. Do you do protection for you every morning? Do you do a protection for you every morning? Well, here's my protection. I now wake up every morning and spend at least 15 minutes just thinking of all the things that I'm grateful for and all the things that I love about life and all the greatest memories. And this is from like Anastasia just recently. She did it for me this morning, actually. It's ideal to do it like at the crack of dawn. The minute that you can actually see around your room in the morning is the ideal time to spend a few minutes just thinking about, oh, I remember when I had that horse, and oh, that smell of that horse and the mane, and to groom the horse, or oh, I remember that dog, and when I would scratch that dog, the legs would really get going, and he would be so happy, and I'd just laugh and laugh. Or I remember that. I'm mentioning all these animal things, but there's so many different things. Like, I remember my uncle when he would make his barbecue, and we'd have this music going, and it was so much fun, and people would, I don't know. Just think of all your best memories, and think of all the most wonderful things that you can think of. And even with the bad moments, think about the good parts of those bad moments that you remember that were really great about it. Just think of nothing but wonderful good things. And even like if everything works out, we have no more catastrophes, or we find out we won and we've got this incredible jubilee, what's that going to be like? Like, picture everything going right, picturing it all going well. Just spend like 15 minutes with nothing but positive thoughts. Anastasia woke me up. I had a hard time sleeping. I don't think I fell asleep till like probably 2 or 3, which is normal for me. It's become pretty normal. Sometimes 4. And so I was going to sleep in because, I had to catch up on some sleep. So, but crack of dawn comes and Anastasia's like, do your list. I was like, all right. So I did. I just laid there for as long as I possibly could, just going on and on and on and on and on and on, all about all the wonderful things I love about life. And Mother Earth just loves that energy too. Like, oh, I've made you so happy. You love it here. And God's like, oh, you love it here. I'm so glad that I've created this wonderful experience for you on Earth, and you're really appreciating it. Everybody benefits from it. Everybody loves it. But yeah, that's good protection to be, because you're choosing God in that moment, like we were talking about earlier. You're always either in the matrix or you're in God's love. You're in God's will. You're doing God's will or whatever. So it's like, if you set the tone for the day in total positivity, the rest of your day just starts to roll out. And I had a really wonky morning. I had like so many things happen, but I never lost my sense of humor, and I never lost my this great feeling of everything being synchronistic and magical all around me. That never went away, and probably because I started off so great. And I did go back to bed. I did fall back asleep, but I just made sure that I did my exercise at that time in the morning. But you can protect yourself in a number of different ways, but I just think that is such a great way to start your day, because it really sets the tone for the rest of your day. When I haven't done that, sometimes like music is a good way too. It gets you in a really great mood. But I would just say just getting off on a really good tone for the day is really, really helpful for your protection, because it'll just keep you in that high vibe all day. And before you get into your phone, like sometimes we get in, like first thing we do is open up the phone. Who's written me? What do I need to say back? And so try to keep your phone put away for those few minutes, those like 10, 15 minutes that you cultivate all the happiness, and then go check your phone. Because otherwise you start your day with your phone, and the whole rest of your day you're going to be checking the phone, Okay, so my daughter and my sister-in-law who passed before my daughter was... Okay, so my daughter and my sister-in-law who passed before my daughter was born. She shares the same birthday along with my daughter and granddaughter. Same birthday. What does that mean? What does it mean that they... Oh. So somebody died on the same day that was somebody else's birthday? No, shares this. They both share the same birthday. The daughter, granddaughter, some birthday. I don't know what you mean. Okay, so my daughter, my daughter and my sister-in-law passed before my daughter was born. Okay. She shares the same birthday along with my daughter and granddaughter. They all have the same birthday? I'd be doing some numerology on that. I'd be finding out what those numbers are when you add them up. Is there anything that she needs to know about the bird? No, they're saying look the number up. The number is somehow, the number that it condenses to is somehow important for your family. It's like the theme of your family. At least the females, they said. Maybe that's something because we just talked about past lives. Maybe it's something that is the theme because of like a running theme through your past lives. That's how you start listening to your intuition too, is you start putting it all together. Like I heard this earlier and I saw that yesterday, and it all starts to like come together. Hi Amy, can you share your story of how or when your spiritual gifts came about or developed or were given? Would love to know the story. That is a very interesting story, I'd say. I mean, it was a slow unfolding over a very long period of time. I would say I knew what animals were thinking and feeling all the time without, I mean, I didn't know that I was being psychic at all. I just was just like, you don't know that your dog is this? Of course your dog is this, you know? And they'd be like, well, how would you know? And I'm like, well, look at him. Like, you know, I would just know. I was like the Pied Piper. I had animals following me everywhere, and I was always hanging out with animals. I was literally known as the Pied Piper in my neighborhood. I was always with animals. I was always out of the house and with the animals for the most part. So that's how that probably started, is like when you're out in nature a lot. I mean, I was out in the trees, out in the woods, laying on grass, laying in fields. I was just always outside for the most part, a lot of time. And if I wasn't outside, I was inside playing with animals. So I was always with animals. Animals will make you psychic, you know? I don't know, they just, and being authentic and kind also starts to cultivate that for you too. But when I was a loner, like most of my life. I've always been kind of a loner. Even with like all the kids in school. I mean, I knew people who were like total nerds all the way up to the popular people and everybody anywhere in between. I was friends with adults. I was friends with little kids. I was friends with like everybody. But it was always like I preferred one-on-one connections. Like, you know, so all the popular people knew me, but I would go over to their house one-on-one. Or I would talk to them on the phone one-on-one, or I'd have them over to my place one-on-one. So, yeah, I've always been a loner. And then when I got to high school, and I've always been bullied. I've always been bullied my whole life. And then I think when I got to high school, I started to have these weird things happen where I would be in a classroom with me and my classmates, and I would look at someone, and all of a sudden a poem would start coming out of me, and I would just start writing, and it was just so weird. It was like I would start basically writing as if I was them, and I would be telling my story about what it felt like to be in my life in that moment. And I'd just be like, what in the world? And then I would go give it to them, and they would look at me shocked. How did you know? Like if they were in a family where people were where their parents were getting a divorce or something, or say they just moved to town and they felt awkward, and any of that, I would just write these poems and give them to people, and they would kind of freak out. And I even then I didn't even know the term. Did I know? I guess I knew the term psychic or whatever, but I didn't really. I don't know. I didn't really think it was like that, and I was always looking for bullies. So I was always like, I'd go to I would have like these jocks come around the corner at school, and they'd slam right into me because they wouldn't even see me. You know, you go around a corner and you hit people all the time at school. So I would always have that happen. And so then I would feel going around the corner, is somebody going to be there? You know? And so that I'd go around the corner if I felt the coast was clear, and it would be clear. So I stopped getting hit, banged into, and the poem started. And then, I don't know. I guess when I got a little bit older, I was just really intrigued and interested in the subject, and really wanted to know more about it, and how do you become psychic, and how do you, I wanted to cultivate all of that, and didn't know how. And I knew other people talk to their spirit guides, and I didn't even know how or any of that. And then I became like super religious, so I thought it was wrong to be like that. And so I put the kibosh on it and squashed it as best I could, but it was still there. Then when I got a little bit older, I actually took a class on how to talk to your spirit guides because I was in a haunted house. And we had all kinds of activity going on in that house. And that got me really, really interested because I wanted to be able to talk to the spirits or to do something that would make them stop all the activity. I was just like, how do I... It was a very haunted house. So I really wanted to know. I found that I was in some kind of there was some other realm in my reality. And I was like, how do I translate any of this? How do I make sense of any of this? So I just wanted to know what the heck is going on in their realm. And so I did start to cultivate that, and just out of wanting, it's be like you get thrown into another country. You're not going to just, some people stay to themselves and they don't learn the language. But in this case, I was like, I want to know the language. I want to know what they're saying. I know what they're doing. And, I had like camera crews would come document it because there was so much activity. They caught all kinds of orbs and ecto and electronic voice phenomenon and everything. So I started off that way. And then I had a psychic come to the house and she talked to my dogs. I was blown away by what she came up with. I was like, how did she do that? Did she know what my dogs were thinking? That was unbelievable. So I guess just watching people who do, I think we learn a lot from watching other people who do this kind of stuff. And then you just get more and more curious. And then, I don't know, a friend of mine wanted me to, he just kept saying, I believe in you. You've got some kind of gift here. And I'd be like, you're crazy. You don't know what you're talking about. And he kept pushing me. He said, Amy, I was on you for 20 years. I was on you for 20 years to develop your skills and abilities. I knew you had something special. And I still, to this day, I don't know what he was talking about. I don't know. I don't remember being psychic. He just seemed to know. And he really pushed me to learn more and to get good at it and stuff. So once I left, I think... then I got into I was a positive reinforcement animal trainer. I always tried to hide it. So I was this positive reinforcement animal trainer, and sometimes when I was doing a consultation with one of my pet parents, they would, the dogs would talk to me. And sometimes they would laugh at what their owners were saying. And then I'd be like, are you telling me the truth? Because your dog's laughing right now. And I finally got comfortable enough to say those types of things. But that took a while because I wasn't comfortable saying that for a while. I would just go home and take notes on what the dogs were telling me versus what the people were telling me, and I would try to get the truth out of them. But it worked out a lot better just to say it in the moment. Your dog's laughing right now. Like, you're not telling me the truth, And so that evolved. I had that dog business for a while. And I think when I finally got divorced from my third husband, my third non-husband, actually, now that I know that divorces or marriages weren't real, the ones with the marriage certificate really aren't marriages, they're corporations. Imagine that. The third person I pretended to be married to, let's say, when I divorced him, I just really wanted to do something. I just really wanted to be my most authentic self. And I was like, yeah, I just wanted to be me. And I was like, I don't think I want to hide this stuff anymore. I think I want to embrace it. Because I knew other people who were incorporating intuition in their businesses and doing really well, like a naturopath. She became like a medical medium, and she was doing so well with it. And I knew so many other people were doing energy work while they were doing other modalities and stuff. And I thought, well, I'm just going to do that. So I started doing that in a juice bar. I was one of their energy work practitioners, and I had like a slotted time every week. I was in the juice bar for most of the time there, and then I think I had like 1 or 2 days. I think one day where I was a practitioner, and people just were raving about it, and they wanted to write me a testimonial or whatnot, and they would go back to the front counter and be like, oh my gosh, Amy's just amazing. And so I was like, I am? Really? So all along the way, I doubted myself, all along the way. because the Nefarians were putting black magic out there. So then I started going to like psychic fairs, and I was doing free readings in a cute little cafe, and I was doing all this stuff just trying to put myself out there, and all of a sudden then I got a calling. I got a Moldavite. The Moldavite like really sped things up, put me on fast forward, like, you need to get to Boulder. I'd never been there, I knew nobody there, but I went, and once I was in Boulder, everything started just falling together. Found some people who said they believe in me and that they really wanted, it was at a bookstore, and they were like, we have readers that come in here, and we want you to be like a substitute reader for when other readers who've been doing it for a while, you know, when they're not available, we'll have you come in. And then they were getting really good feedback from that. So then they let me have a day. And then they let me have the featured spot. And I had like the ideal days and hours, and everybody was really jealous and really mad. But the owner of the owner of the bookstore and the owner and the manager of the bookstore really believed in me. And they said, we know you have something special. So all my life there were people telling me, you've got something special, you know? So I was always told that, and I would just keep going, and sometimes leaning on their belief in me, you know? And it pretty much just took off from there at the bookstore. So then I just got more and more confident and better at what I did, and now I'm doing this. And now I kind of incorporate everything. It's really cool how it's all come together, because I get to help people with their corporate careers, and all the different things I've been through in my life. I can help everybody with everything, because I've been through it all just about, it feels like. And that's when you know also that you've kind of like hit your purpose, is you feel like I was born for this. Everything in my life that I've done has added up to this moment. That's why I did all of that. That's why I even like had a YouTube channel a long time ago where I was talking about this, that, and the other thing, and I learned about lighting and how to film things and how to edit things. You know, this is why I learned how to do that. You know, and this is how everything started to. This is why I learned how to decorate. You know, I'm a really good decorator, interior decorator, excellent at it, and it doesn't have to cost a lot either. So there's all these different things that I've learned throughout my whole life, and now I get to utilize all of it all the time. So it's really cool. Thank you for asking that question. Okay. You are so awesome. Can we be best friends? Feel blessed that you helped me understand it all better. Oh, good. I'm so glad. Yeah. Sometimes it takes an outside perspective, you know. We should never feel like a victim about anything in life. Nothing should make us feel like a victim. Nothing. There's nothing can stop us from anything we really truly want. You should see my American Bulldog. She's getting so big, and she's so funny, but not like anyone. Animals are the best, yeah. I always kept to myself too. I'm totally like that. I do great doing, you know, going out and doing things. I mean, I love people. I love hanging out with people. I talk to people everywhere all the time. I'm always getting to know people, sharing myself with people. I'll tell people anything. I'm very, very open. I'm not some kind of like some anti-people person. And I'm great at parties. I'm great at networking. I know everybody, you know, like I'm really good with people. But I like to stay to myself, because I think that I just, I enjoy my company. I enjoy my company. Sometimes when you involve a lot of people too much, you get involved in a bunch of drama and stuff like that. And I don't like getting into the drama. I just like the peace of my life. I like to be in peace. Yes, and my mom died at 22. 23 put her daughter for adoption, but my daughter shares. That's crazy. That is so weird. That's trippy. So beautiful. I was so checked out. Huh. I didn't believe what anyone said at school. Weird, but it was friends with everybody. Yeah. I remember that channel and the radio show. Yeah. The radio show. I have a podcast on Spotify. If you guys go to Spotify and look up the Satori Show, That's where I started the podcast. And then I had the business radio satellite program that I had. Thanks for sharing. You mentioned getting moldavite, assuming crystal. It's actually a tektite. It's extraterrestrial. It's from outer space. It's what's the other word for it? It's a yeah. It apparently was some kind of a green mist. Where was it? Czech Republic, I think, is where they started. It was like a green mist that ended up crystallizing. So it's really trippy when you look at it. If you hold it up to the light, like hold it up to the sun or a light bulb or something, you'll get downloads from it. It's powerful stuff. And it takes you from wherever you are in life to where you want to be, like smoother and faster. So if you get a moldavite that you really love, all you got to do is go to a rock store and put different moldavites in your hand. Put it in your left hand, your receiving hand. Hold it, and it should warm your hand. And if it's a really powerful one, it'll warm your hand, and then it'll spread down your arm and up to your heart. They rejuvenate your heart. They clear your heart chakra. They make you younger. They make you stay younger longer. And they're just like super powerful. Some people can't stand to have it on them too long, and they have to get used to it over time. So, yeah. And that sped up your psychic senses? No. The moldavite didn't speed up my psychic senses. The moldavite basically just got me to boulder faster. Yeah. Are they easy to find? I think they can, though. I mean, moldavites, they enhance other stones that you have around them. So whatever you put it near, it's going to make those other stones even more powerful. Yeah, moldavite's awesome. Are they easy to find? Okay, there's a website you guys should go to if you want to get a moldavite, a good quality moldavite. It's called themoldavitefamily.com, I think. Themoldavitefamily.com, I believe. They've got the genuine thing. Apparently there are fake ones out there, but I've never seen one. I actually had to adjust to it. Yeah, I would wear it a little bit, then a little bit more. Yeah, I like eat and bathe in it. I love it. I can't have enough moldavite. I could be in a whole house made of moldavite, and I'd be so happy. I love the stuff. Love your story of when you said your boyfriend ran away from the cows. Or maybe it wasn't a cow. My boyfriend. Oh, that was a cow elk. That was an elk. It was like the size of a horse. It was probably bigger than a horse, actually. The thing was huge. It was monstrous. That was the funniest thing. Oh, Lord. For those of you who don't know that story, it is pretty funny. It deems repeating. It's a pretty good one. Does the size matter in a stone? No. You could have a little tiny one. Oh, I haven't done the chakra clearing for you guys yet. I need to do that and then probably go. Oh yeah. Okay, so the elk story. So I was dating this guy, and we decided to go to Yellowstone to hot springs over there. And we had been, soaking in the hot springs and everything, and then we started walking back. And the place was, just, I don't know. It was just kind of close to the road. It wasn't like out in the middle of nowhere, near a parking lot, But it was in Yellowstone, so I mean the whole place is full of wild animals. But so we start walking back on the path, and he was on my left side, I believe. And he looks over, and there's like a few elk over on the side, female elk. You can tell because the males have the antlers and the females don't. So we saw, well, I don't even remember if there were males there either. I just knew that there were some elk over here to the side. But you see them all the time in Yellowstone, so I didn't even think anything of it. I'd never been afraid of elk or anything. I wouldn't be afraid of any wild animal. I'd just be like fascinated just watching it, and I would just go really present. If I saw one, I'd be like, okay, I would just kind of get ready and brace myself with presence. But so there was this little group of elk, and they weren't even all that close. They were like, I don't know, I don't know. They were just over in the bushes to the right as we were walking back. And then he said, I don't like that look on that cow elk's face. And I just looked at him funny, and I was like, why? What kind of look does she have? I don't see any look. She just looks like an elk to me. And he was like, she looks pretty mad. And I didn't really think anything of him saying that. I thought it was really weird that he would think that there's something wrong with the cow elk. I didn't really see any expression on her face or anything weird. So I just kept walking. And when I got up closer to her, she was probably a good, I don't know, 20 feet away, something like that. She started running at me, like full speed. It came pretty quick. I don't know how close she was. I mean, I don't know how to explain, like how, yeah, I think it was probably 20, 30 feet, But I didn't even I just kind of glanced like this. And all of a sudden I saw the corner of my eye. She was like running at me. And the first thing that popped in my head was to protect him and not even to protect myself. I was just like, I just remember feeling really protective in that moment. Like if I had had a child with me or whatever, I just felt like, don't you dare, was what the feeling was. And I was like, don't you dare. So I turned and I faced her, and I put my arms up in the air and I roared at her. It was just like, "Roar!" And she just skids to a stop and turns around and runs. And when I looked over this way to see my boyfriend, he was in the bushes. And he comes out, that was the most awesome thing I've ever seen in my life. I can't believe you did that. You could have gotten killed. Do you have any idea how dangerous that was? And I was like, what were you doing over in the bushes? Why weren't you doing that? Why weren't you standing up for us? Like, what the heck? But it was so funny, though. And he was just talking about it forever after that. Oh, my God. Do you know what Amy did over in Yellowstone to the elk? Like, nobody could believe it. They were like, what? Little Amy? So you'd be surprised what you do when you feel protective of somebody. Like you hear about those moms that have superhuman strength and they lift cars and stuff. I'd be that mom. I'd be like, I would be all over that. Hot springs. Remember the one we went to that day? Yes, we had the helicopter ride. That was a fun day. That was such a cool day. Oh my God, I have felt so much peace that day. We just drove for hours and just went to this hot springs. It was so fun. There were all these naked people there. We were like checking everybody out, like, what's going on over there? Oh, look at these guys, you know. And that helicopter ride was pretty amazing too. That was fun. My Moldavites left me. Perhaps I left them, but I think they left on purpose. Yeah, they do that. Moldavites tend to disappear. They don't like water either. Don't put them underwater. But sometimes, sometimes stones come into our life to do something, and then they're done with their purpose and they go. So I wouldn't feel too bad about it. And they might reappear later at some point, maybe when you need it again. Love to have been there. Oh my gosh, I know. When I left and I had my breath back and everything, I was like, I can't believe I did that. Oh. But you're powerful, I believe it. It really isn't, when I think one thing that makes me feel powerful, or that is powerful about me, is that I am kind of unassuming, I guess, and I'm willing. I'm willing to do anything. I don't let my head go, no, you can't do that. You're not qualified to do that. I just go. If somebody gives me an invitation, a good opportunity like that, I'll say, okay. If it appeals to me, I'll say, okay, I'll go do that. Oh, but you actually should have to be there. I'd be like, no, you don't. Why? So I've always had just a really open mind. And so I didn't even have that thought, you can't go after an elk. I was just like, you're not going to hurt anybody here. Not happening on my watch. You know? I was just like totally determined, and I didn't tell myself anything that gave me any kind of doubt or anything. I didn't even actually have any second to think. You know? I couldn't even if I wanted to have doubted, I wouldn't have been able to, because it was so fast. I didn't even have a chance, you know? But that really showed what I was made of too. When not given a chance, you know, then I just did. But that happened with my job too, because it intimidated me to like be some kind of psychic people would come to visit in the bookstore. You know, I mean, it scared me sometimes when I would think about it. So I just didn't think about it. I mean, I had to just block out thoughts like that. Like, who do you think you are to go have answers for everybody? They come line up and they want answers from you. Who do you think you are to give these people answers? You don't know what they do for work. Some of these people were like Pulitzer Prize winners and, you know, I don't know, what do you call it? Yeah. Like people who are like geniuses and people who are doing extraordinary things would come to me. So it would, you know, I think somebody who, you know, somebody else might have gone down that trail of following that doubtful thought and would have been like, oh yeah, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. What am I should just go do a regular job. I should just do the corporate job again. You know, I didn't entertain those kinds of thoughts. I mean, I would think them and I would get nervous, especially if I smoked pot, which I did sometimes. And when I did, I was just like, I don't think I could smoke pot anymore. It gets me too like freaked out and in my head. So I was like, that's not working. That's not working for me. So it was kind of like that. I just as I was going along making major decisions, I was just like, that doesn't work. That does work. And overthinking things definitely doesn't work. So, you know, I think that's one thing that just kind of makes me different. And it's not even listening to my intuition. It's more just like, yeah, because I mean, I've gotten myself in some bad situations too, but at the same time, it's like they were great adventures, really great adventures. But I think I just don't get too in my head about it. And I end up, you know, doing some really awesome things as a result, because I don't sit there and doubt it or think I'm not good enough or any of that. I mean, I might think, like I said, I might think those things, but then pretty soon after that, I'm just like, well, it's here. You know, it's here and I'm willing, so I'm doing it. So maybe that's, you know, kind of seen as powerful or fearless or whatever, but it's really just not thinking. You know, it's just not thinking about it. It just, if they see I'm capable, I guess I'm capable. Instead of they think I'm capable, I'm going to let them down. You know, my voice says, if they think I'm capable, I'm going to at least try my best to do it, what they think I'm capable of. And if I fail them, I'll apologize. You know? And that's like with my readings, I was like, I am going to let them know, first and foremost, I am going to translate for spirit as best I can, but they're only telling me what they're telling me, so I'm not going to necessarily be the all-knowing one who tells you everything you need to know. I'm just going to tell you what spirit tells me, period. And if they just say one thing or just show me some sneakers or something, that's all I'm going to tell you. And I'll do my best to try to figure out why they would show you sneakers, but I'm really just only going to do my best. You know, I'm just, because that's really all I can do is just my best. So I just kept trying to do my best. And I was just, like I said, I was just willing. And then once you take that pressure off yourself too, then it gets a lot easier, because you're just like, yeah, let's give it a shot. I guess that's like when people help others who are in danger, they put themselves in danger. Right. Yeah. Sometimes you just don't even think about it. You just jump right in. So, okay. Nice. What's in the works for Yeshua's birthday on Monday? When is Yeshua's birthday's on the 11th, right? Is that Monday? Is that when that is? What's going to be happening? What's going to be happening on Monday? Interesting. Because somebody before you just talked about farts. They were onto something. I just saw something be like something exploding. I guess you could say. So something, it looked like is it a good thing or a bad thing? Is it, oh, somebody's playing with me. Okay. Cheche he lake tapuma ana san se piena. Shishe lake en sa se pun. For some people, a massive celebration. For other people, oh, like a total defeat. The good people on top. So I don't know what this is, but it definitely feels like a big burst of energy on that day. And then, yeah, a bunch of people celebrating and a bunch of people really down. But I believe the good people are on top. So let's see what the World Truth cards say. Well, whatever it is was embraced or accepted with little to no resistance. So it was deliberate or collaborated, or people totally cooperated with whatever it is. Oh, do you remember that video? Oh my gosh, the video with Mr. T in it, and they said that they had not cooperated, they had capitulated. It kind of had that feeling to it. All these people had capitulated. So maybe that's this situation involved to climb to the top. Didn't I say the good ones are going to be on top? Someone's trying to achieve great success. Okay, so let me see. Something's going to be prevented. Okay. Huh. This has come to or will soon come to a happy ending. It's played itself out and is being resolved now. Relief is at hand. There's nothing to fear. This is only an illusion to assist in the awakening of humanity. So people find it ridiculous enough to question what's going on and desire a change. So maybe a big wake-up call. But maybe like those of us who know what's going on we're going to know exactly what's going on in a sense. Like, okay, all right. You know, I said this morning, God, if anything happens, I'm going to be celebrating. I don't care if it looks good or bad or whatever it is, because it's moving and shaking and, you know, we're awakening. So I welcome it. Bring it. So, okay, you guys, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Have fun. Try to take some time to quiet your minds, quiet your environment. Don't turn your TV on. Put your electronics aside. Maybe even not talk for a while. Put your phone aside. Get out in nature. Have some TLC time. So, big hug. Big hug to you.